After serging the curved part of my bottom panel and the bottom of my front of my fanny pack, I'm going to actually pin those two edges I just serged together. But before I do that, I want to find the middle of my curved piece. So I'm going to do that by folding it in half. And then wherever this crease is right here, that's my middle. So I'm going to finger press it, which means just pushing it down with my fingers so that it leaves a little crease. And then as I unfold it, you can see like a little indentation there, maybe not so much in the video, but I can see it. And so I'm going to do a little mark on both sides using a fabric pencil that can come undone easily. So that's where I marked before. And so I'm going to do a little bit bolder mark. Hopefully you can see that one on my wrong side. So now that I have that marked, I know where this is going to line up because I've already marked the middle and sewn the middle of my pocket, right? So where that pocket line is, that pocket line, that's where I'm going to line up these two lines, and I'll do right sides together so my pretty sides are together, and I'll line up the serged edges right on top of each other, and I'll put a pin in perpendicular. Just like before, I'm going to start in the middle and sew my way out because it's a curve and that helps me with curves. So every pin I put in here, I'm going to make sure is perpendicular because that makes it a little bit easier. That way I can sew either way and my pins aren't going to affect me. So I'll pin the middle, and then I'm going to go ahead and pin the end next. So the two edges, I will go ahead and pin, and I'll just line them up. It's tricky because we're pinning a curve to a straight line, and that can always be a little bit tricky, but I'm going to make sure I'm pinning perpendicular. I'll do both ends first so I make sure that I don't accidentally leave some fabric out of either the top or the bottom. And then after I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and I'll work my way from the center out, lining up my serged edges right on top of each other and then pinning perpendicular to the edge. So again, I'm just lining them up and pinning. And hopefully if I do this right, I should not have a whole lot of extra fabric when I get to the end. If for some reason, see how I have like a little bit of bubble right there, then I can go back a few pins and I can adjust to try and get rid of my bubble. I don't really want a bubble there. That'll make it extra tricky for me to sew. And you can always put extra pins in if you are having that kind of problem. Just put extra pins in and that will help a lot. Okay. So now I'm going to put one more in right here because I can see it bubbling just a little. I'll move over to the other side and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just lining up my serged edges with each other and I'm pinning them together. And this side is going together a little bit smoother, which is nice. So I have lots of pins on the curves because curves can be tricky, and then I'm going to go sew this at 1/4 inch seam allowance.